Well, welcome to our workshop today. I'm so thrilled to have Deborah Henson-Conant with us. She is such a creative and innovative player, artist, composer, thinker. So I'm really looking forward to all that she has to share with us today. I also want to take a moment to thank the Cabarrus Arts Council. I think this is the 16th year that they have provided funds through a grant to help support our program. So we appreciate that ongoing support from them. Well, we've got a very exciting topic today, and I would like to share with all of you a little background of research. I know many of you here are therapeutic musicians, others are just harp lovers. Many of us have come to the harp later in life after maybe having some other musical experiences. So let me take just a moment to share my screen. I'll pull up a PowerPoint, and that is something that I will be sharing with you after the webinar. Well, today we'll be looking at how to create musical greetings to reduce isolation. One of the greatest challenges of the COVID pandemic has been the forced isolation of patients, the separation of patients from families and friends as they strive to heal. Research has shown that this patient isolation causes increased anxiety and depression. And during times of loneliness or curtailed social interactions, music elicits a sense of social presence. We need that contact with others. And during this pandemic, music can be a global resource for us. Research is showing that music is highly effective in regulating mood and defining self-identity, in reducing loneliness, and creating a sense of togetherness. Even when listening to music in isolation, it offers a sense of comfort, provides a sense of belonging, offers shared feelings, promotes recall of significant others, and compared to other activities, music is most efficient in relieving negative moods. So to flesh it out a little bit more, the effects of confinement can cause increased confusion, anger, fear, frustration, boredom, and even some folks have reported post-traumatic stress syndrome. There is an increase in negative emotions, anxiety, depression, and indignation. We experience a greater sensitivity to social risks and have a decrease in positive emotions, happiness, and life satisfaction. So the effects of music in isolation are mood regulation, social cohesion, promoting relaxation, offering escape, changing mood, and providing company. During this time of lockdown, social distancing, or even just staying at home, a number of organizations have been trying new and innovative ways to break through that isolation. Generis, in partnership with the National Council on Aging and Meals on Wheels of America, started a movement to create uplifting and inspiring virtual stories or video visits. These 1 to 3 minute personal messages are directed to community members who are not receiving visitors. They might share a story, a song, poetry, or art. Generis created a YouTube library, and they provide simple instructions for creating a video visit using a cell phone, or they'll schedule via Zoom to create a video. Now, research has looked specifically at the benefits of recorded or virtual music. Empirical evidence shows that virtual music elicits a sense of social presence for participants. Relaxation, escape, mood change, and providing company, as we mentioned before. Interestingly, the research shows there is little difference between live and recorded music in terms of the listener's pleasurable emotional responses. This provides support for the use of recorded music during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this has been an area of concern for therapeutic musicians because we much prefer to be live at the bedside, but due to safety protocols, that is sometimes not possible. I direct your attention to the journal Frontiers in Psychology. They have sponsored a series of 44 articles on the research topic of the role of music during the COVID pandemic. I have drawn on some of these articles in preparing this PowerPoint today, but I've only scratched the surface to the wonderful research that is current going on during 2020 and 2021. Also would like to share this wonderful photograph. This is from the Here and Now radio program, but that article talked about prescribing music lessons for healthcare workers who have experienced so much stress during this pandemic. Well, today we're delighted to have Deborah Henson-Conant with us. She is the epitome of creativity and innovation. In February of 2020, her Hip Harp Academy presented 20 Seconds of Love, a Valentine video project. And today she's adapting her video greeting cards for the hospice and healthcare setting. We're going to learn how to create a personalized message with comforting music to connect with patients and caregivers. This is a timeless idea that can be adapted for different times, seasons, holidays, or situations. At the conclusion of the PowerPoint, you'll see there are a number of resources. You'll be able to study these when I send you the PowerPoint after our presentation. So at this point, I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to turn over the things to Deborah Henson-Conant. Welcome and thank you so much for sharing your time and wonderful talents with us.
Thank you, Kathleen. I was so excited as I started preparing for this, and just even today thinking what all of the people that you are going to touch and all of the lives that you are changing and opening up. And so I just got really excited about sharing this with you. And I want to thank Kathleen, not only for inviting me here to do this, but also giving me so much information about how to adapt this to a hospice or therapy situation. And so what I love to do in my classes is I love to give you something to play even while I'm talking, so that because sometimes you actually learn or engage better when you're not paying complete attention to the harp. I have a few things to say, but the first thing I want to do is I'd love everybody to tune your harp, and I hope you know how to do this, into the key of G. Anybody who doesn't know how to do that, it is the key of C with an extra F sharp. And just ask everybody to remind themselves to mute. And I like to just really check this. Let me put this down so you can see my hands. I love to actually feel that, just really feel that scale. It's a major scale. I'm sure many of you know this better than I, it's the Ionian mode. It's the major mode that gets used the most. Although we play in many other modes, but I want us to work on a song today called Dona Nobis Pacem, because it is a beautiful song. It will teach you a lot about how to utilize improvisation along with a song, and how to share something that's a beautiful song for this season. Actually, we have a bunch of songs, but I just want to start with this one because it's not wedded to any particular culture, and it has a beautiful introduction that I want to teach you because you can use it elsewhere, and it sounds like this. It's got a lullaby feeling to it. This is an introduction that you can use with many other tunes like Away in a Manger or Silent Night or any piece. And I'll tell you the notes in a minute. You can do it with one hand, you can do it with two hands. And I want to break it down because once I break it down, it holds the building blocks. It holds powerful building blocks that you're going to be able to use over and over and over again. It's got a low note, which is G, and then the next note is D. And one of the things I love about this is it's this open sound. And if you can't even do the rest of the pattern, that alone is beautiful. The pattern, as I like to do it, and it's a little bit tricky at first, is a shape. I'll show you how this shape gets built, but first of all, I'll just tell you what it is. G, D, B. So go ahead, it's just an open. It happens to be very similar to a shape we're very used to playing. It's actually a beautiful, gentle explosion of one of the first musical shapes that we learn. So now that you're playing it G, D, B, you're playing G, D, B. I'm not singing those notes, I'm just singing what you're doing. G, D, B. So I just want you to see what this is built of because you can use it over and over again. Note it, come up here to the G just below middle C and put the notes in a different order. Instead of G, D, B, put them in the order G, B, D. It'll sound like this. And that will be very familiar to you as a triad, right? A simple, simple triad. But look what happens when we open it out. We put the G and then the D and then the B. It opens it into this beautiful harmonic shape that can resonate the whole harp. And there's a reason it's so resonant. It actually reinforces the harmonic overtones when you play it in this order. Sometimes it's called an open triad, but it's basically just G, D, B. If you can put your hands on it all at once, great. That is the foundation. That is one of the powerful foundations that we're going to use today that will give you so much freedom once you get it. I mean, it's very simple. And then we're going to take those top two notes and notice that the top two notes, which are D and B, just notice them. That is the interval of a sixth. It's very beautiful and it's very resonant. Move it up one step to E and C. And let's just go back and forth between D and B and E and C. This is one of the building blocks we'll use, is having a shape of a sixth. It's going to give you so much power and freedom and flexibility in building other musical ideas. So just notice, you could even take it up another step if you wanted to. You could keep going. We're going to use this as an intro in a minute. Here's how these two fit together. If you go, have this beautiful, and it's just gorgeous, and it creates a beautiful resonance that you're going to be able to use once we start putting the cards together. You'll be able to use it as an introduction, as an interlude, as a meditation. You can use it for many things. I just want to make sure you really have it, that you get grounded in it first. It's G, D, B. Notice there's a sixth on the top, a shape, and you move that up a step. So first you're playing G, D, B, and then E and C. And it's this beautiful rocking. Well, it'll become rocking in a minute because I'm going to add one more thing to it. And notice how it resonates the entire instrument. You can, if you can't do it with one hand, you can do it with both hands. You can split it apart. It doesn't matter. It's just a building block. I'm going to give you one more thing to add to that, and then you will have the whole thing, the whole sort of intro, interlude idea to play with. And that is when you get to the top note, to the B, you rock down to the A. So it's G, D, B, A, B. Let's just do that a couple times. That alone is beautiful. G, D, B, A, B. Two more times. G, D, B. If you can grasp the whole thing, great. But even if you just had one finger, you could go G, D, B, A, B. So whatever technical level you're at, you've got a beautiful open chord and a little rocking melody off the top of it. And then you add that E and C. And you have a whole world to improvise on. It'll sound like this. And 2 and 3 and 1. And you'll have space to play around with it or to speak. And that space can be open or it can be in rhythm, but you're creating a space. I just want you to all do that. You're looking at me. Is there something tricky that I'm doing? I want to make sure you're getting it because I want you to be able to play with it as I talk. Because we're going to use it in a minute. In that space, notice that what happens here, you play that. And even if you don't go on, now listen to how much resonance there is coming out of this instrument right now. You've created a beautiful resonant bed of sound. Even if you just do that, and what are you going to do with that resonance? There's so much that you can do. You can speak, you can turn away from the harp, you can look at the camera, there's so much. Or you can play it. I'll play the whole little thing. Listen and then play back. You can play back almost like it's a bird singing. You've created the atmosphere, an open field, and the bird flies through it or it sings back. It doesn't matter what you're playing, and it allows you, it doesn't matter what you play with your right hand, you're playing melodically, but you've created this beautiful space which you listen to and you can play. So it opens it up. You can play or you can speak. Now we're going to do more with that later on, but I wanted to give this to you. Does everybody feel like you kind of have that to play with? I want you to be able to, good. I want you to be able to play with it while I'm talking, because sometimes it's just, I don't know, you'll just get it more when you're not even worrying about it. So one of the things that I wanted to say when I heard Kathleen doing the introduction was how beautiful this idea is of a visit and the difference between a performance and a visit. And it also reminded me of one of my favorite books by H.G. Wells, and it's called The Wonderful Visit. And it is about an angel who accidentally falls to earth, happens to be a musician, happens to be an improvising musician. And it's this wonderful visit that so many other people can't understand, but the person who it speaks to, it changes that person's life. And I believe that this is what you are doing. When you make a visit to somebody, it is a wonderful visit. The gift is coming through you. It's so different than having to worry about performing. And notice that I can talk while I'm playing that, but I don't have to. I and you could play it. And then turn back gently and speak so that I can give a message of love while I'm playing, even though actually I'm giving the message of love in the resonance of what I'm playing. I also loved this idea of this visit and how to make it even more personal, because that's what we are going to be doing today. We're going to not just be playing for people, but we're going to be seeing what is it like to bring a message from ourselves or from somebody else to that wonderful visit that we're making. So before we go on, I just want, as we're going along, I want to make sure that you get what there is to get today. So there will be time at the end to ask questions. So go ahead and stop at any point and write down your questions so that I can answer them at the end. And know that what's important to me is not perfection, not getting this right, but getting something that you can use to connect with people. Now, if you've heard this enough times, I want you to consider moving it around. Consider moving it to C. That might sound a little strange. You might not want to do the top part. You might just want, you may want to move that third in different ways, or you just may want to play. I'm going to want to tune that in a minute. It gives you a break. In fact, you can do just an arpeggio. That would be great. And then come back and play the first one. So a concept that I'm giving you right now is going to be throughout this session, alternation. There's alternation upon alternation upon alternation. So right here, we're playing this G, D, B, A, B. So there's an alternation at the top. And then we're taking that and moving it to E and C. We might do that 1 time, 4 times, 8 times. And if we get to the point like, I've done that enough, we can alternate with a C arpeggio. However you do an arpeggio, and then come back. This is what I call journeyman music. We're not creating a piece of music. We're not creating something brilliant. We're not trying to be amazing. We're creating music that works to connect with people. That's what we're doing. I'm just going to tune this C. I will tune one of them, but not all. All right, so go ahead and play with all those ideas as I'm talking. And as you do this, either now or later, allow doing this to be a meditation for you, so that you're not playing to get it, because it's pretty simple, but you're playing to let it get to you. And start playing around with parts of it as well, so that you saw that we took that 6th and we took it up to E and C. But if we took it up to E and C, it can go further. Anything can be taken further, gently, so that you are discovering the music as you're playing it. You're not just reciting it, you're discovering it. You're listening and you're playing. And that's happening as you're speaking to others, which we'll learn in a moment. There are other little building blocks that I've given you in the handout, but I wanted to start with this one because it's so beautiful and so open. You could talk while playing and not have to look at your harp. That could happen because I'm just playing a shape. So there's a certain amount of improvisation that comes with this, like in any conversation, like in any visit. And you're making your visit wonderful because you're bringing yourself, you're bringing music, and you're bringing a message, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So before we start, I want to just ask a very practical question, and I'm fine. I will never feel bad if you're playing while I'm talking. Do you all have a way that you're comfortable taking a video of yourself and sharing it just in a practical way? And I think, Kathleen, there may be some trainings in that somewhere as well. Is that right?
Yes, and we did some of this last year in our webinar series, and we can pull out some of those directions to share.
Great. And it sounds like the project, the visit project, may have some videos as well. And I will say that for myself, what I will often do is I will often record what we're going to learn today. I'll record it on my phone. I'll send it to YouTube, where I'll upload it unlisted. And I think I wrote that in your handout. Once I have it on YouTube unlisted, then I don't have to worry about other people seeing it. I just send it to the people that I want to send it to. These video greeting cards from me are one-on-one messages. They may be different for you if you're sending them to a hospital, but I encourage you to think about them as one-to-one messages. So for me, I will make 25 of them or 50 of them and then send them out individually to everybody on my list. And the beauty of that is that the more that I make, and I'll tell you what they are in a second, I know I'm talking about them. And the beauty is that the more I do it, the more creative. It's like I'm building my creative muscle. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn a structure, and let's just play these for another second. So because you may not know who I am. So my name is Deborah Henson-Conant, also Deborah Henson-Conant, and I am a composer and I'm a performer. I write stories with music, and I either put them on the stage as musicals, or I literally become that musical myself, and I perform it with the harp. The harp is an incredible instrument for telling stories and for reaching out and for opening up the realm of music and for allowing our fingers to have a voice. And that connection, the connection that we want to have with others, it is happening every moment as we're touching the strings. We are living that connection that creates resonance. And that's what you are going to do. You're going to create it even more personally when you make these greeting cards. So I've had an incredible opportunity in my life. The harp has taken me all over the world, leading bands, playing with symphony orchestras, even getting to write my own music and play my own music with symphony orchestra, even being able to get a Grammy nomination for doing that, letting me go out and play with rock bands. The harp has opened up the world to me. So you may have seen me perform, you may know of my records, you may just know of some song that I've played, but today we're here together because I want to show you one tool that I have found to reach out one-on-one with music, because I know that is what you are committed to doing. All right, so the very first thing that we're going to do is I want you to think about, and I put, sorry, there's actually a little worksheet in here, but if you don't have the handout or you don't have the worksheet, it doesn't matter because I'm going to walk you through it. So the first thing I want you to do, let's just play this again, and I want you to visualize. And close your eyes while you do this. And if that means that you just play this, and then you close your eyes, and then you open it again to see it, I want you to get very connected. You heard Kathleen talk about how the harp has been prescribed, or music has been prescribed as a kind of spiritual medicine. And I want you to take that medicine now and enjoy the beauty of it, because you've already got the prescription, which is your instrument. And I want you to visualize one person, either someone you know, or someone in hospice, or someone in a hospital, or someone in the world. Visualize that person and what message or gift of a message, what do you want to bring them? And by bring, I mean let come through your music. Just visualize that. And as you visualize it, notice the feeling of your fingers on the strings, because that is the connection you want. The strings are silent before you touch them, and your fingers are silent before they touch the strings. And when that connection is made, they both can sing. That's what will happen when you are playing for others. That silence will turn to song. So just write down, get that vision, and if you get a name, write down the name of that person. Or maybe you come up with 5 different people so that you're really thinking about an individual person. The logistics. So who are you sending to? Okay, so the next thing I want you to think about is, what will your content be? Now, I'm going to give you some content right now, but I also want you to think about a message. And I want you all to share that in the chat. Just share the kind of message that, or in fact, in the chat, first share your relationship to the person that you might be reaching out to. So it could be sister, it could be patient, it could be client, it could be person I want to have hire me, because you can use these actually professionally as well. Just share, what is the relationship that you have to this person. And I'm asking you all to share because this is group learning, and you will enrich each other so much more through the shares. So every share is a great gift. And I think you'll be able to download this chat at the end so that you can actually, like, you might not have thought of your grandson or your great aunt or your big sister or your mother-in-law. You might not have thought of your coworker. You might not have thought of that. And I love how Peggy's saying she just did her first vaccine, and it was a difficult decision for her. So you're helping her with that. You're giving her the space. You're not changing her, but you're giving her the space through the music to experience what she's experiencing and transform within it. A child, a mother, and a friend who had surgery. So situations in which people need to have a real connection. This is beautiful. A friend who had surgery, anyone who's going through something, a friend across the country who you can't visit, who's undergoing emergency surgery, a friend from years ago, rare contacts. I love this, rare contacts, more recent, a sister, an older friend now confined, my aunt who turns 90. This is a great thing to, by the way, to use with happy birthday. A husband will be having surgery. So Yes. Okay. So you can send to someone who you even see almost every day, but you may not be seeing them, although you could. It could be someone who's you see every day. Michelle is saying a friend who is away from her family for Christmas. Yes. People who are feeling lonely. Meals on Wheels clients. That's beautiful. Sister out of state who has had a stroke. Okay. Beautiful. I'm sure a lot of you are getting more ideas of who you can reach out to. So now you have a beautiful list because you want that list. The more people, the more creativity you're going to get. So now we're going to talk about what will your content be. And I'd like you to list just 3 songs or melodies that you can play already with absolute and complete ease. Tunes you love, and they are so easy. It's not about learning anything. I mean, we're gonna learn something today, but it's not so important. I'd like you to have 3 of them. At least. I mean, you can have many, many more than that. And share them in the chat because other people may also have ideas from that. And we want to share those ideas because you can see how that's expanding and resonating. Beautiful. Cindy saying, My Little Welsh Home, Searching for Lambs. Eily Gale, I'm probably saying that wrong. South Wind. What else? Go ahead and share. You'll be able to download the chat, so you'll be able to get it. Polka Bells Cannon, beautiful. Falling Snow. Thais, I don't know that songs, but that's wonderful. I'll wait to get till at least another 4 people share. In the bleak midwinter, green sleeves, low how a rose. This is beautiful. You can definitely share, even if somebody said it. I love how there's so many here. Foggy Dew, Carol of the Bells, Give Me Your Hand, Morning Has Broken. Yes, what a beautiful tune. Yes, Yearly Remembrance of My Brother's Death, Dona Nobis Pacem, Mozart's. These are all coming in. Amazing Grace Fair. This is beautiful. Ash Grove, Over the Rainbow, Silent Night, Under the Willows. Beautiful. Great. So now you all have a huge list of many tunes. You Are My Sunshine. I love that song so much. It's one of my favorites. Okay, great. So now you know who you would reach out to, what content you have already. And now I want you to add what is the message, the heartfelt message that you want to give in those words. If you feel too shy, it's fine. You don't have to share it. I encourage you to because this will open up love. And what are the words that you might say? Because we're going to make a little bit of a script, not a script to follow, but a script to give you structure and support, even if you because we can get nervous just even doing something as simple as what we're going to be doing. Okay, the Christ in me embraces the Christ in you, dear one. Okay, beautiful. So that's almost like a poem. I have been thinking of you. That's beautiful. Presence. And I love that. So love that, Annie. Go ahead and open it up more. It doesn't have to make totals. It doesn't have to be a sentence. It could be a poem, so that you have the words to say. I'm thinking of you. I wish I could be there in person. Okay, I'm bringing myself as much as I can. God's peace, empathy, and fellow feeling. I'm missing you. Thinking of you, even though we are miles apart. Yes, and go ahead and write them in as you would say to someone, because we're going to start practicing some of these. I am constantly with you in spirit. Okay, let's actually take that. Let's take I am constantly with you in spirit. And let's create with what I already showed you and with that particular, and you don't have to get it exactly right. You could also say, you are a blessing in my life. I'm remembering our special times right now. This is my way of saying thank you. And now I've forgotten, but I'm just going to choose, I'm constantly with you in spirit. And what I want you to do is I want you to connect with your instrument. Play as much of this as you can. Let it ring. Turn to the camera and say, I am constantly with you in spirit. and then turn back. Play, turn back again and say something like, I am thinking of you all the time. And now my fingers want to tell you something. And you don't have to say that fingers, I mean, just something. But we're alternating the playing of the instrument with the gentle turning right to the camera and giving this message. And then we're going to come back and we're going to play, and we're actually going to play just the beginning of Dona Nobis Pacem, but I have to find it. Okay, because the beginning of Dona Nobis Pacem is just, it's a G chord, it's G, D, B. All right, so let's do that. Let's do that like 4 times. And we're going to pretend that we're actually doing this. We're going to touch. We're going to pretend I'm starting the camera. And we can do it a bunch of different ways. You can start looking and smiling and speaking. It's not important what order this is. So I may do it in different orders, and don't worry about it. Don't feel like you're doing it wrong or how come I'm doing it different each time. It doesn't matter. I don't remember which way. But here's what's important. We touch the camera, and I want everybody to reach out and just touch like you're touching it, and then come back and be looking at the camera as you come back. And let's say, okay, sorry, there's so many ways to do this. Let's do this again. I will guide you. Go ahead, touch the camera. You're looking at the camera, and then you look at your harp gently and you play. As slow or as fast as you can. You complete, you look gently at the camera and you say one of these phrases, I am constantly thinking of you. And you smile, you love this person. Gently, you look back at the instrument. You take all the time you need to place your hands again. You play it, you end, you look, you say, I'm thinking about you all the time, and I wanted to play this song for you. You look at them, you smile like you love them, you go back here, and we're just going to play the first few notes of Dona Nobis Pacem, which is G, D, B. Let's play that 3 times or 4 times. And then let's end with, I'm just playing an open G, G, D, G, D, G. It doesn't matter. We're just playing a chord. Then gently look back and say, Happy Holidays. And you turn it off. So we're going to practice that about 8 times just to get the how it goes. I'll try to do it the same way every time. When you're playing Dona Nobis Pacem, I just want you to play, you can play anything that you love and you know that's in the key of G. It's going to be short, not this short, a little bit longer, and then we're going to end it. So let's do it 8 more times, and I'll ask somebody to keep track if I don't do enough. Okay, so here we go, practicing. We're going to turn on the camera, and we look at the camera and smile. And let them see us find those notes, because to them, it's fascinating to see us find the notes. And we play, we let the harp ring, we gently turn back, and we say, I am constantly in your spirit. Or I forgot the words anyway. Then we look back gently again, very gently, play it again. All the time to look back at them. I think about you all the time, and I wanted to play this song for you. You look at them, you let them see your love, and then you gently look back at the harp. You find your note and you play it. You play it again. I'm just playing G's in the bass. You play the song, focusing on it, and then you end it. You let that ending land. You take the time, you look at them, and you say your final greeting, whatever it is, I love you. I wish I was with you. And then you turn it off. All right, so that we'll do it 7 more times so that we can really get how that goes. And notice how we're not rushing, where each thing has a moment that we're looking at them. We're looking toward the harp. To the viewer, us finding the strings is beautiful. And it's something to share with them, not something to hide. It's something to share with them. All right, so let's do it again. And you hit the start button. You're looking at the camera. And you look at your harp and you find your way. You might look back and smile at them. It doesn't matter. You're letting them in. Take all the time, look back at them. You are constantly in my thoughts. Take all the time to come back here. Play another thing. I'm constantly remembering the times that we've spent together and loved them. And I wanted to share this Christmas with you in this little song. You complete that, you come back to the harp, and we play whatever we're going to play. I'm just going to play that again. Play it again. And then we end. Let it end. Hear the resonance. Turn back to them. Totally connect. Happy holidays. I wish I could be with you. And we turn it off. Okay. All right. So before we do this another 6 times, takeaways. What are your takeaways from doing this? This is beautiful, and I love that you guys are having these wondering, remember special times, my way of saying thank you. I'm so proud of you and celebrate your choice. I just wanted to let you know I'm praying for you as you are away from your family. The snow, this is beautiful. The snow today is quieting my spirit, and I send you these songs from the quiet of my soul to yours. So one of the things I love about that is you're really letting this person into your life. You are, and by doing that, you are together. You really are together. So Pat is saying relaxing and reassuring for me too. Okay, great. Any other takeaways so far? Is it helpful to go over this a couple times? I mean, of course, you can do this anyway, but for me, I find it's great to go through a formula. That formula can be totally different, but if I like learning one formula first. And Kate says, I really like your emphasis on taking your time in moving from the camera to the harp to speaking. Yes, that adds a feeling of being present. Yes, beautiful, and fully immersed in the moment. Beautiful, yes. And that's the feeling that we want to give. We're not showing, hey, I'm an amazing harpist. Look at this. What Kate said is exactly what we want. We want to have that feeling of presence and being fully immersed in the moment. That's what we're going for. That's why we want to use music we really love. I mean, I gave you more music so you have it and you can see how this works, but and because I got excited about it, so I made more things. Great. And Michelle says practicing here with a group makes it more comfortable. Yes. These same principles, Eve says, adapt perfectly for the in-person playing too. Yes. Yes. And it's also something that it doesn't just have to be a message from you. It could be a message from a family member that you then give to somebody else. So there's many uses of that. So let's try it a couple more times, and then we'll take more takeaways and we'll just break them down because all of these are so helpful. So once again, we start out, we press the play button. We're looking at the camera, we're connecting. We let them see us move to the harp, and we let them see us connect to those strings. Then we play the introduction. We let it ring. We turn gently to the camera, totally connect. You are constantly in my spirit. Gently back to the instrument. Really connect, and then connect back. I'm remembering the time that we were in that sled and going down the hill so fast, and it's just added a thrill to my life ever since then. And I just wanted to reach out to you today and bring some of my life to yours. And then turn back and play again. Or whatever you play. I was trying to play Dona Nobi Spacem. I'm actually going to show you what I'm playing here because this is so simple. Once again. And let's end it. We have an ending. We turn back and we say the final greeting. I can't wait to see you next year. Completely with time, we turn it off. Let me show you this other thing that I was playing because sometimes I get like, I don't know what note to do. And it's really great. If you just put a G in the bass, like a G octave, and you use that shape I showed you, that sixth apart. So let's see, put your right hand on C and your right thumb on C, your right third finger on E. You've got the shape of a sixth. You can just move it around. In fact, I want everybody to try this so that you know that you can actually make music while looking at the camera if you needed to. So I want you to play a G that makes the harp sound and then make that shape of the sixth. And play, just move it. And notice that that is music. So if you get lost, you can always do that until you can come back to the music that you're playing. All right, let's do it 2 more times and then we'll take another couple of takeaways. All right, so we start with the camera. We're looking there. We're connecting with them already. We let them see us move to the harp. We let them see us connect with the harp. We connect with the harp. We play our introduction, whatever it's going to be. We let it end, we listen to it, we float on that back to the camera. I'm constantly thinking about you. And then we get drawn back, but without jerking back, we come back gently. We let them see us connect. Once again, we let float over to them. I wanted to bring you something from my hands to your heart. Gently come back. You can do this again if you want, if you need more time, and then I'm going to play the melody. I'll just play this 3 times because I don't remember the whole thing. And I'll end it. And then I play. Happy, happy, happy holidays. And we turn it off. So do you guys feel like you've got that now? You pretty much have that? All right, so sometimes I will turn it on and I'll say, I am constantly thinking about you and I wanted to play my harp for you. So sometimes I'll speak first. It doesn't matter, the order is not important. What's important is that we are allowing resonance of the instrument to, come through, that we may or may not play a tune that they love or that we love, and that we really put the message in there. So in some ways, it's incredibly simple. I mean, it's like having a conversation with somebody that also has music. So, and they're building blocks. So there may be many, many, many different introductions. For example, an arpeggio can be an introduction. If what's easy for you is an arpeggio, that's what you might play as an introduction. It doesn't matter. It's all about what are all the points of connection that you can find? Literally, you're touching, literally, you're looking, literally, you're over here connecting with your instrument. Then you're playing, it's connecting from ear to ear. Then you're connecting again with words. You're connecting again with the instrument. Your hands are connecting. You're connecting if you play a song you love, or if you play a song you know they love, that's another point of connection. And then at the very end, you look at them again with a point of connection, and they see the final point of connection as well. It's connect, 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 connect. So, and we want them to see that. So they want them to see you going and finding the strings. Like, you don't have to like quickly do it. They need to see that connection. All right, so takeaways from this, and then we can talk about different tunes that we can use. And can you think of some applications here? Or is this giving you ideas like, oh, wow, I could do this, or oh, wow, I could do that? What are some of those ideas that are coming out to you that you're having? And is anybody, oh, let's do that. And then I'll ask if anybody's nervous about doing this. So what are some of the ideas that this is giving you? Greetings from my faraway family. Yes, instead of sending Christmas cards or Christmas letters. Absolutely. Yeah, I just love this as that. And you don't have to worry about supply chain. You don't have to worry about, is it going to get there in time? It's totally from you. Is it going to fit? Well, yes, it's going to fit. That's beautiful. Yes. Karen said, a way to connect with old friends I have lost touch with. Kate says, I'm having more ideas of who to reach out to. Perfect. I'm really feeling how powerful this can be as a way to send love, connection, and my heart. Great. Beautiful. And the other thing that happens is the more you do it, you start having more ideas. So let's talk a little bit about that as well. So I come from the world of theater, so I'm always thinking lights, camera, action. How do we do this and how do we let them see us? So I just want to talk a little bit about setting the scene, setting the lights, and setting your costumes. And you don't need it's not a costume, but you want, oh, it can be. I mean, what I discovered as I did these, especially when I did these on Valentine's Day, is the more I did it, the more silly I got. Now, that may not be, what you want to do, but as I kept doing it, I started doing all kinds of things that I'm not going to recommend to you, but like putting a message for my aunt in my mouth. I have a message for you. I mean, just silly. I just got silly after a certain amount of time, or I'd put on a silly hat or something like that. So it's actually sometimes lovely to have, like, even if it's just something like this, that you can just put around, and so that, I don't know, it just makes you feel like you're doing a different thing each time, because I will literally do them and do them and do them, 25 of them. Another thing to think about is the lighting. Is you want people to be able to see you. So the lighting and the camera can be very helpful to that. Lighting is best when it is behind the camera. So if you have a window and you can put the window in front of you and the camera in front of you, then you will have natural light, which is the best of all. If you can't do that, you can put lamps in front of you so that you are in the light. And you do want to let them see you. Now, that can be a little bit triggering to some of us. And so if that is triggering to you, there's a lot of different things you can do. But the first thing I would encourage you to do is to think about the fact that this isn't about you. This is about the service of bringing the gift that you've been given. You may not even know what it is, and allowing it to come through you to the other person. And I don't know if you've ever, if you've ever been in a hard place and you've listened to a radio show or a lecture or a service or something like that, and you've gotten exactly what you needed. And have you ever experienced that? You just heard the thing that you needed. I don't know if that happens to you, but it happens to me all the time. I'll have a problem and I'll turn on the radio and that answer will come to me. When we're open with what we do, the answer or the comfort that they need will come through us. So that's that. Just if you get nervous, remember that you're a vessel of this message, and you just, you're coming up with a message, it's great. And then it's really just about connecting with your instrument and letting that through. Okay, let's just see. I want to see what you guys are saying, thinking about how to play. Okay, great. All right, so I've talked about lighting. I've talked about camera angle. We want them to be able to see what we're doing, just because it gets frustrating to them if they can't. And so it can just play around with the camera angle. And be aware. Now we're getting into all the technical stuff, which is the stuff that makes me nervous. Mostly, I have my camera like this, because that looks best in YouTube. If I were sending something through Instagram, I would put it like that. But don't worry too much about that. In general, I tend to put my camera like this. We may think that we want it up and down because we're harpists, because we think we want to get the whole harp. Well, it actually will work better if we put it this way. And we will get a better image in YouTube if we put the camera this way. You see the difference? This is what's called landscape mode, and this is called portrait mode. You want to keep it in landscape mode unless you're using Instagram, which you're not going to because it's not personal. I don't think there's any way to send an individual message. No, sorry. Whoa, no. And oh, sorry. I don't know what. Oh, I see what's happening. Sorry. I'm so sorry. That was an emergency call accidentally. How many people does that happen to? Does that happen to you guys? Oh my gosh. Okay, why do they make it so easy for that to happen? All right, back to calmness. Wait a minute. Yes. I love this for bringing me back. All right, so we know we have our formula. And Kathleen, remind me, when do we end? I don't want to go over. And I want time for questions.
At 2:30. So we've got
great.
about 25 minutes.
Okay, great. And I want to have time for questions. All right. So we have our formula, which is just a creative formula that you can change. We've got the mood that we want to evoke, which is to be connected in every way. We've got our list of people. We've got, the message that we want to give to them. We know how to do this. We know that it can be simple. I just want to check here and see what else I want to. Oh, so the lights, makeup, that's up to you. I like wearing makeup, especially when I'm on camera. And so I without trying to obsess about it, I try to really be as present as I can when I'm doing these. And then there's a certain point in which I'm like, okay, stop worrying. I am the age I am. I can do what I can do, and I'm just going to share myself the best I can. And that is what's most important. So I just want to look at this. So in the handout that I gave you, okay, practice, we went through the practice script. Okay, great. And did everybody get the handout? Or you will be able to get the handout? Okay, great. If you need more, so good. If you need more support, if you're one of those people who's like, you get off the call and you're like, wait a minute, but wait, she said, but there is a whole class in the Academy that's called video greeting cards. So you can go and look at that, and it literally has, diagrams for your lighting, and it has different ways that you can edit videos. I mean, it just takes it, beyond, but you have already the basics. I'm going to give you a link to that, so you've got it. But you don't need more than what you have here, unless you are one of those people who, like me, sometimes just needs more. But you have everything you need. Okay, so now let's look at some different, or are there any questions right now? Otherwise, we're going to look at some of the music that I brought for you. Okay, camera angle, set. Okay. Oh, ooh, the set. Meaning, what is in the picture? So when you look at the picture, just think about, is everything there what I want people to see? So for example, if you were looking, if I was doing this over there, you would see a camera which has nothing to do with the story I'm telling you. So I would want to shift over here so that you can see me better. If my camera was like that with a window in the background, I might want that window in the background. There may be a reason I want that. There may be something beautiful out there, and so I want you to see it. But just think about the fact that that's part of the story, whatever is in the screen. So sometimes you'll have something in the background and you'll be like, oh, that was my underwear. That was not what I wanted to have in this particular video. So just be aware of it. And you just have to look, make a video and then, oh, I see, and then look at it. But when you watch your videos, do it without a critical eye. Ha ha, like Fat Chance, that we're going to be able to do that. So I'm going to give you some direction on how to do that. When you look at the video, look for the love. That's all you're looking for. Look for the love and look for the connection. Anything you see about your playing, anything you see about how you're dressed, once you've got started, if you're doing your first 2 or 3 tries and you're like, oh, I want to change the camera angle, or oh, I want to change what I'm wearing, that's fine. That's fine. But once you have it set up, look for the love. Is that love coming through? Great. Then it's ready to send. The other thing that I like to do is I like to go all the way through the process. I like to videotape it, get it, upload it to YouTube, and then send it to myself first, just to make sure there's no weird thing in the middle of the process, like that I forgot to turn the sound on. And so people see the video, but there's no sound. So there's all these little things. And I've so many times been like, I made 20 videos. And then I look at them and they're like, oh man, there's a crackle or something like that. There's distortion. So without obsessing, I want to go through the process once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times. Once I feel pretty confident that the video has audio on it, there's no weird thing happening, then I might sit down and make 25 of them in a row. If you do that, make sure that you label them, because you're going to get tired afterwards. And it'll also help you if you say in the beginning, this is for Auntie Gloria. And I didn't even say that in the beginning. The more personalized you can make it, it'll make it easier for you to remember who you're sending it to, for one thing, and it will be beautiful for them. And I just want to say that I sent a video Valentine to all my family, and 4 or 5 months after that, my foster mother died of COVID, and it was so meaningful to me that I knew that she knew how much I loved her. I made sure she got it because I didn't hear back from her. I made sure she got it. And that made so much difference in my life, knowing that. All right, so are there questions? And if no, optimum distance from camera, great question. It kind of depends on you, because it could look really cool. It could look cool to be like this, depending on what else you have in the room. You might have a tree over there, or it could be, I personally like to be right up here so that I can really look at the person. And I love, the way so many of you are right now, like Cindy. Okay, I can't see your harp that well, but there's all kinds of really love. I don't know if you guys can see Cindy, but if we see sorry to bring you guys in. Hi, but Cindy's right there. Her face is right there. There's a beautiful quilt behind her on the wall. So it's saying something to me about her and what's important to her. We can't see her harp that well, so we might want to see her harp better, but that's a beautiful, yeah, you might want to put the camera down a little bit. Peggy, we can see a whole bunch of things about Peggy. We can see Peggy, We can see her instrument. We can see how much she loves music because it looks like there's a piano behind her or an organ, yes, and another harp, as well as some other things on the wall. That you're right. And so that can be important, you know, that she's showing us that we're seeing that. And if you look at Pat, sure, her harp's not in the picture yet, Pat Morse, but you can see her Christmas tree. And you know, so that's really beautiful. That's a lovely thing. And Michelle and Kathy, you're both, you know, nice, you know, we can see you. We can see your face and you're right, and you know, where you're right in the camera. So that's a nice angle. And if you look at Eve, this is all, even though you don't, well, but what we're looking at is what we love. There's something wonderful in each of these. What's great about Eve is look at the interesting angle we have there. So you have that option as well. So look at that angle. That's a cool angle. And if you look at Deborah's iPad, the other Deborah, this is really interesting. So look how there's a light or something in the front, right by the camera. Do you see that little thing? I think, wait a minute, I don't want to, yep. So she could use that. I mean, that's not necessarily meaningful in this picture, but it could be a sprig of holly, or it could be a flower. Like she could use her screen in that way to tell part of the story. Yes, framing it. You can frame it, and you can have it behind you. And now what Jacqueline is doing, and she just keep doing it, is very cool because we're seeing her engage with her instrument. That can also be fun. Like it could be fun for the person to see her have it on the lap and then bring it up. Like all these things can be a valuable part of what we're sharing and really letting people into our lives. And it was great to bring these out. And you may want people to see your home, and you may not, you know, like it depends. And you can, I mean, like, there's actually some really cool stuff behind this. And sometimes I wish I could show it. But I use this for so many different things that I just put up a curtain. And depending on how close you are to the camera, you can put up a curtain there. And sometimes it's just like, I don't want to clean the house. I'm just going to put up a curtain there, or a sheet, or whatever you put up. All right, great. Length limit. You guys are great. Okay, length limitations. That is up to you. Now, I noticed in what Kathleen was saying about the virtual visits, I think it was called, that they requested no more than 3 minutes. Was that 2 to 3 minutes, Kathleen? And I think that is a good amount of time. In my academy, Hip Harp Academy, when people share their work, we have a limitation of 90 seconds. And it's amazing how much you can express in 90 seconds. When they do their final projects, they sometimes do them 2 or 3 minutes, and that's fine. But beyond 3 minutes is just too much, unless you are specifically doing a meditation for people. And in that case, maybe you get it up to 3 minutes. But the ones that I send to my family, they're, well, unless I'm playing someone's favorite song, you know, or something, if I'm doing something, then I might make it a little bit longer, but generally I make them very short. And then people can enjoy them, and then they play them over and over and over and over again. And that's fun for them. These are great questions. What other questions do you all have? And then I'm going to try to find the music and share my screen so you can just see what I gave you and have a little bit of guidance. If I can find it. I know that Kathleen just sent it out and I downloaded it. Oh yes, I think I got it right here. Nope, I don't have it right there. No, I knew I forgot to do something. All right, well, I will find it. While you guys are thinking of questions, I will find this. Okay, video, PDF. What was the name anyway? Does anyone remember what the name of the file was?
The name of the file.
Oh, the file that I sent you, Kathleen.
I know it had therapy in it.
Oh, it actually had hospice in it.
Yeah.
I just remembered. Okay. Or maybe not. Maybe it had therapy in it. So
And I,
Mine says VGC
Got
intro
it.
holiday.
Beautiful. Okay, great. That's what I'm going to show you. Now, when I normally teach this, and I am teaching I'm teaching just a 1 hour one of these tomorrow, and I can show you, if you go to my site, you can join that as well. When I teach it in not therapeutic situations, the intro is very different. It's all this like pizzazz and da 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 da. But this was a very special training because of the gentleness of it, and also the music that we're picking to go with it. So I'm going to share my screen, but you may have to give me that permission, Kathleen. Oh, email or messaging, Dropbox. Yeah, great question. What I love to do here, let's see if what I love to do is put it on YouTube, get the sharing link, put that in an email or in a text. And what I like to do is also in the description in YouTube, I put a message there too, like happy holidays, Auntie Elaine. It's just, I don't know why, I just put that as the subject of the video. And then I will use the share button to grab that link. I'll put it in an email where I can put another message to her. So she's going to get several different messages. And I'm sure if you're using them on in this, so Kathleen, people have an option here to actually share these with, right? I mean, in a larger way. Could you just take a minute right now and just remind us of that? You kind of represents us to that.
Yes. During this COVID pandemic, we set up a therapeutic music playlist on the Atrium Health YouTube channel. But the things that we post there have to go through a triage in the healthcare system, and they will post it, once it's gone through that triage. So I will send out some directions about how to best share it, because we may use Dropbox, because these videos will be too big to email. That's why you either need to post them to YouTube like you're doing, or deliver them by Dropbox so that then they can upload them for those of you that would like to participate in the Atrium Health channel, because that's been set up so patients throughout the healthcare system can access this beautiful music and those greetings, to try to break down that isolation barrier there. And we have little cards that we give to patients that tell them, the link, how to get there so that they can access that.
That's beautiful. So do you feel, Kathleen, that what we learned today would be appropriate for this particular kind of messaging?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just a reminder, I think it's in your handouts, but because it's going, on that public Atrium Health channel, it has to be music that's in the public domain or your own improvisation, so that we don't get into copyright issues. But all these pieces that Deborah has provided today, they're in that public domain. And I'm sure many of those, or almost all of them that were listed in the chat, are in the public domain as well.
Yeah, I think the only one that was listed that wasn't may have been Over the Rainbow, but all the rest of them, you can just double check and make sure. So one of the reasons I love putting them on YouTube is because then if I send the link to a friend, they sometimes like to send the link to others. And that can be really fun. Okay, so let's take a look at the music that I gave you. The music, again, I encourage you to use music that you already know and that you already love and that's easy for you. But I got all excited about the list that Kathleen sent me, and I had fun actually creating improv ideas so that you can use these in other ways as well. But this tells you, this is just an introduction. It tells you need to know how to capture video, a way to share. These are the ways that I use: YouTube, Vimeo. You can actually put a video on WhatsApp, but it's got a big limitation on what the size is. And I don't even know what Marco Polo is. Maybe that's something older. And then just a way to send the message. So email or chat or Facebook or whatever. Just be aware, Facebook, I think the message, it may be private, but I don't know. And it just depends on how important the privacy is for you. This explains what it is, length 20 seconds to 2 minutes. You can just look at this. And this is just everything that we went over. We already went over all of this today. I want to look at the music in just very briefly. And here's our little planning sheet so that you can go back over that. And what I did is I put, from many of the suggestions that that Kathleen made, I put them, I wrote out the melody for you, and in either G or C. I tried to keep them in C, but some of them just sounded way better in G. And then I created some kind of introduction. This is very similar. This actually is almost exactly what you did. It's just, this is even simpler. This sounds like this. And what's beautiful is anytime you see a held note, that is a place where you can be improvising. So as soon as you see this space here, you can either talk or you can improvise. You can play it. I'm improvising with my right hand. Now I'm doing the second left hand. And when I say improvising, it just means I'm noodling. I'm playing shapes with a single note as if it were a melody. Every time you see spaces, you can do that or you can talk. So I just put some notes here for each of these, giving you ideas of what you might use. You can use these ideas with these tunes or with other tunes. So try using that 1-5 pattern. That's this. It's called 1-5-10 because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I didn't call it that, but that's what it is. And then I suggested things like, for this tune, I would probably leave the second half of the tune out. And I think I suggested stopping, I can't remember where I suggested stopping, but I suggested it because the second half of the tune starts getting a little raucous. It's not raucous, it just modulates and it goes into a different brain space. So I gave you some suggestions like that. For Dona Nobis Pacem, one of the things I discovered was when you play this, one of the cool things to do is you can add a sixth underneath this melody. So you can play, I'm just playing a 1-5-10 in my left hand in the beginning, and then, but notice what happens when I get to the third measure. I'm putting a sixth under every note, and then I'm just playing the big letter above it. And it's creating all this harmony. So what I'm doing here is, aside from in these first two measures, I'm playing this big letter as a bass note, putting a sixth underneath every one of these notes. And that allows me to create harmony very, very, very easily. The other thing that I suggested with this tune, you only have to play this first line, and then you can come back and you can play the pattern that we learned. This rocking accompaniment pattern, I just showed it to you here on different notes, but this is what we learned. So, I mean, there's so many different ways you can improvise. I'm sure I gave you way too much. This was a beautiful, beautiful tune. I'll try to just briefly go through it so you see what it is. I had never heard this tune before. Kathleen gave it to me, and I just really fell in love with it. And I used this. So you can see that I come up with these little patterns that kind of work for me. So I use this pattern. And then this is the second chord. Whoops, oh, this is in C. So I would put my Fs down. I know I'm going through this fast, but I just want to give you a sense of how to look at this handout. And then notice there's all this space. So you can play around with, you can just play this chord and then play this chord. can you see that I'm doing the same thing over and over again? I'm having the harp resound, and then I'm playing back to it with my right hand. I just want to see if there's anything else really different. I just gave you tunes that I love and ideas for improvising on them so that you have them. And of course, as always, we couldn't get to everything, but what we did is get to the most important. So before I turn this back over to Kathleen, Cindy's asking a question. Do we need to use music in the public domain if we are sending one to one person? Theoretically not. If I'm sending it to my aunt, I've used, tunes from the 40s that she loves. If she's never going to share it with anybody else. Will the police come after you? I've never heard of it happening, but I can't say for sure. I don't even know if there are any police like that. So before I turn this back to Kathleen, what are your biggest takeaways from this session? If you forget absolutely everything else that happened, what's one thing that you can remember, or one thing that you would tell someone else if you needed to tell them how to do this? What would you tell them? Either one, your biggest takeaway or what you would say to someone. And I love to do this at the end because it's easy to be like totally remember everything and then you forget it. And I'm going to encourage people to download the chat. Kathy's saying focus on the love and connection. Absolutely. If you forget everything else, if you do everything else wrong, that's the most important thing. That's the deepest. I'll wait till we get like 4 more, then I'll turn it back. Would love to see some examples from you of Valentine messages. Oh, I know I have some somewhere. Right. Seeing examples is so great. I know that my students have a lot of them. I know that we have some online. I think there is one. I'm not going to promise getting it to you, but if you go to my blog, which is Hip Harp, hip as in cool, harp as in the instrument, go to my blog, search for Valentine. Hopefully you'll see one. And just, I would search for things like that. I'm bad at, I would say, oh, I'll get that for you, but I know I won't. So, I mean, if Kathleen bugs me for a week, I might, but I might then not. So here's what, playing, okay, leave more space, beautiful. Let the harp ring, playing phrases between the talking, beautiful, beautiful. Eva saying there aren't many wrong notes on the harp, exactly, just play gently and listen and let it unfold. These are beautiful. Michelle said, I love the simplicity of the improv to resonate behind the verbal message. That's gives me chills. That's exactly what you want. And it also lets people to have some time to let it sink in for them. Just try it, do it for yourself, beautiful. Take time, connect with the camera, beautiful. There is no one to tell us we are playing it wrong. We are just sharing love and our love of the harp. That's right. So you've got multi-dimensional love and multi-dimensional connection. Beautiful. Well, Kathleen, I'm going to turn it back to you. I encourage everyone to save the chat. You can do that by going down to the chat. There's 3 little dots in where it says type message here, just above that and over to the right. If you click the 3 little dots, it says save chat. It will save it to an undisclosed location on your computer, but it should be, you can often find it by searching for the word Zoom. It'll make a folder possibly in your documents where you'll find it. It'll just download that chat. And then you'll have all these beautiful, everything that you all said to help each other. Kathleen, I turn it back to you.
Well, thank you so much, Deborah. This has just been wonderful. I think we all are inspired now to reach out and connect with those friends and family, or maybe those patients that are isolated. This COVID time has been so hard for all of us, and it's been wonderful to be here and connect during this webinar. I will be sending out information for those of you that would like to participate in our Atrium YouTube channel with your video greetings. And I hope you all will enjoy sharing with your friends and family as well.
And Kathleen, I just wanted to say to people, sometimes if you need more support, you can always reach out to me at hipharp.com. Hip as in cool, harp as in the instrument. Go to the contact page and just either hit the contact button if you have a question. And then I also have a whole academy where I'm teaching all of this improv throughout the entire year. So if you need more support or you want to be going in more into that direction, just reach out. The academy is called Hip Harp Academy. And if at any point you can't find something, just go to my contact page and ask. I wanted to get that in. Kathleen, now I pass it back to you again.
Thank you. Well, I see that our time is up now, so thank you all so much for being here. And I look forward to seeing you in January. It will come up fast because the second Saturday is January 8th. So don't lose track of that over the holidays. We'll be with Peter Amadon, who's been one of the founders of choir music in hospice settings. So it's going to be a terrific workshop too. So I hope to see you again January 8th. Thank you.
And thank you, Kathleen, and thank you to all of you. This was so wonderful. What an incredible opportunity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.